All right, so we have entered the final stretch, the last 24 hours, 25 hours of the historic season on Arena. So we've hit Mythic with this Grixis Shadow list. Not only have we hit Mythic, we've gotten well into the top 1200 needed to get the points to hit the qualifier. Or I think it's something like top 1200 gets enough points to enter a qualifier play in the Friday before the qualifier, but top 250 gets enough points or gets just like an automatic entry to the qualifier. So we would like to get top 250 to get our automatic entry through. We're sitting right now at 336, so we're like right on the cusp. But with the decay that'll happen in the next day, we've got to get up like probably into the double digits to have a reasonable chance to not fall out with decay. So that's kind of going to be our goal today, is to get up to those like sub 100 numbers and see if we can crack it. Uh Played a couple matches today, a few wins over like Mardu, Greasefang, Mono Red, Elves, something else. Like I think I started the day at like 6 something and have been moving up about 100 spots each win. So we got the YouTube recording going. We're just gonna like go over the deck list real quick, and then we'll start jumping into matches. See what can happen. We only got like a few hours to stream today. Go away. Go away. Reno, why do you do this? Alright, so you go there. I think you should be able to see all of that. Luris up here down to. Alright. So let's go over the deck list real quick, a few of these card choices. And then like I said, we'll go ahead and hop in. Alright, so first of all, it is a Luris of the Dream Den deck. Obviously, Luris like banned in Modern, pretty great in Historic. We get a lot of the cheap threats that we have come to know in the Shadow builds recently, like Death Shadow itself, Dragon's Rage Chandler, Croxa, a few others that we'll go over. So let's just start with that. We'll start with the creatures. First off, 4 copies of our Lord and Savior Death Shadow. Obviously not as good as it would be in Modern, since you don't have access to fetch lands and Street Wraith and cards like that. But still fantastic. It's just like a 1 mana 5/5 on turn 5 a lot of the times, or something you can recur with Luris, something you can ditch to Shadowheart. 3 copies of Dragon's Rage Channeler. I've been 3 copies, 4 copies. It's a good card, but Delirium is not as easy to enable in this list as you would hope. So Dragon's Rage Chandler does have its limitations. 4 copies of Ledger Shredder, one of the better creatures in the deck. Really looking forward to watching you tilt top 1200 here. Maybe. Ledger Shredder, 4 of in the deck. Probably best creature this deck has access to. Pretty frequently able to double spell. Kiyomo, what's up? Shadowheart, 2 copies of Shadowheart. This card has been like an absolute MVP going up the ladder. Able to stabilize against the aggro decks, card advantage against the control decks, close out the game quickly against combo, like does everything you want it to do. The only downside of it is being legendary, but that's kind of to be expected. Also can just be a big roadblock as a 2/2 Death Toucher against a lot of aggressive decks. And then I'm trying out 4 copies of Blood Tithe Harvester. I'm not sold on the card yet. but I wanted a more proactive threat that I could just like throw out in the first couple turns. Helps filter a bit. Uh, Great for filling the yard for Croxa. Great for ditching away extra lands, removal spells against control decks, blah, blah, blah. 2 copies of Croxa, pretty known quantity from now on. The few games I played, Death Shadow is actually the worst creature in the deck. I think Dragon's Rage Channeler is the worst. It's okay, but I find myself like running into, especially with it being a 3-1 with Delirium, like it just gets eaten alive by like Bone Crusher Giants that are all over the place. Can't make any early aggressive attacks. And you're just kind of hoping that the filtering pays off as you go on. Yeah, they're definitely... Oh, I agree with that 100%. I would just put Dragon's Rage Channeler slightly worse than Shadow. But they're definitely the 2 worst creatures in the deck, and it's not even close. Kiyoma, how does Specialize work? So, Specialize is this funky arena-only mechanic. Should show it, like, up here. So, right up here on the top... that way, top bar over there. So you pay 2, choose a color, you discard a card with the associated color. So like if you choose red, you discard a red card, or you discard a land with the mountain subtype, and it specializes into the red variant. Likewise, you can name blue, discard a blue card or an island, name white, discard a plains or a white card, and specialize into that variation of Shadowheart. So, for example, you discard a black card, it becomes a 4/4 with life link that pings each player on the instep. Great for stabilizing against the aggressive decks like elves, goblins, mono red, burn, anything like that. The discard Luris version, I've done a few times, actually really great at closing out the game. Because if you like specialize into this one, play a shock land, make a 2/2, Thought sees them, make a 2/2, end this turn, ping everybody, make a 2/2, closes out the game extraordinarily quickly. The blue version, fantastic against mid-range mirrors or control decks, where you're able to like shock, draw a card, end of turn, ping each other, draw a card. The red version, probably the least, or the one I do the least often. It becomes a 4/4 that whenever you're dealt damage, deals that much damage to your opponent. Dealt damage on your turn. So, like, you flip it into the red one, you shock yourself, deal 2 to them. Thought Seize, deal 2 to them. End of turn, ping yourself, deal an extra 1 to them. And then you just have like a 4/4. Have not done the green one yet. Can't do it in this deck, but I haven't tried it in Jund, so. The card is fantastic. Like, it is insanely good. The downside is once you specialize, it becomes that card permanently. So even if it dies and goes to the graveyard, it's now the specialized version. So you can't recast it with Luris and like specialize to a new version. You can Kolaghan's Command it back as that version, but that's what you got. So spells, I cut the 2 Inquisition of Kozilek, kept the 4 Thoughtseize. There's times Inquisition doesn't hit what you want, but you don't see enough burn, and you don't have a bad enough matchup against burn to really want the extra hand disruption spells. But like Inquisition missing that 4 mana sorcery, get 2 Gates card out of the Gates deck, Collected Company, Big Teferi, Thought Monitor, like a bunch of stuff like that is actually relevant. 3 Unholy Heat, 2 Fatal Push. Unholy Heat's been growing on me. Like, you can make Delirium work, but just not as proactively as you would like. Blood Tithe Harvester has been helping out a bit, but helps to deal with things like Psy, Master Thopterus, Greasefang that are really tough to enable Delirium. That being said, Blood Tithe Harvester also helps Fatal Push a lot more, but I've been seeing more Planeswalkers, so Unholy Heat's a little more relevant. 1 copy of Spell Pierce, 4 Consider to be proactive with like Ledger Shredder, 2 Drown and Lock. Anything more than that, and it gets a little awkward with them not being able to fill their graveyard up fast enough. Because again, your opponents don't have fetch lands more often than not, so you're relying on like Thoughtseize, Kroxa and your cheap interaction to help fill up their graveyard. 4 copies of Expressive Iteration, absolute all-star card. 1 Shatterskull, 1 Agadeem's Awakening. I've been messing around with like 2 Agadeem, no Shatterskull. But I think having that untapped red source with like Expressive Iteration, Harvester, Kroxa, Channeler, and Holy Heat has been really nice. 1 Kolaghan's Command. I think it's 18 lands. 5, 10, 12, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, and then the 2 MDFCs. You're already 250? No, I'm 336 right now. We're going for 250 today. Or actually, we're going for a lot higher than 250, but I thought I would do the YouTube intro real quick. So the sideboard, I wouldn't pay attention to the break here. It makes you do the little best of 1, but I never play best of 1. So I'm just like skipping over that. So 1 Spell Pierce, 1 Negate to round out the counter suite with 2 Mystical Disputes, 1 Fatal Push, and Argyl's Blood, or 1 Fatal Push, Infernal Grasp, Molten Impact to help out the removal suite. And then I added in a Deadweight recently, a little combo with Lurrus against the small creature decks. It's actually come up a few times against like goblins and elves, and I was able to start looping Deadweight, and obviously that feels fantastic. 1 Kolaghan's Command, great against like the Rakdos mid-range decks. We've seen a few artifact combo decks, Affinity, which, by the way, we've got a Shatterstorm and a Bi-Force to help with the Affinity matchup. 1 Argyl's Bloodfast, great against Rakdos midrange, blue-white control. Occasionally, I'll bring it in against like Burn or Mono Red, because if you get down low enough and just kill off a Shadow, gain 12 life, replay your Shadow later with Lurrus, it works out pretty well. And then finally, the last card down here I'm messing around with is a copy of Meathook Massacre. Been running into a lot of like elves, goblins, merfolk, some random decks like that. So I wanted to try out a Meathook Massacre. Like, obviously there's that disparity of gaining life in your shadow deck, but if the gain life just like ends the game by wiping your opponent's board and stabilizing, you can get back to a lower life total with shadow, but you don't want to like not give yourself a way to stabilize. No TBR. No, like, I like TBR, but we're not lowering our life total aggressively. This is more like shadow mid-range. You could run one of the versions with like 3 or 4 copies of Painful Bonds, and then like TBR looks fantastic in those builds. But I've been kind of on and off Painful Bonds. It's a really good card, but you run the risk of just like, all right, there's some games I've got to play it out on turn 2 to find a land, and now all of a sudden I've got 6 cards in my hand that are all pinging me, and I want a little more control over my life total than that. But let's just go ahead and roll in. But yeah, like I said, we're sitting at, I think, 336 right now. And the goal is to get to like sub 100. And then we can kind of consider like waiting out the decay. We've got 24, 25 hours left in this season. On the draw, opponents mulliganed. I think I'm going to ship this back. Like, obviously, if I had a red source, this would be a snap keep, but we go to the opposite side, but we do have a bunch of stuff we can do with black mana. So I'll keep this. Probably just ditch the Agadeem. Yeah. So we have like a painless second or third land if we want it. Alright, Esper Sentinel. So this could be like one of the Hammer Time decks. I guess I should like export the list to Stream Decker. Discard a card, tap it, gains indestructible, sure. Alright, let's get out Blood Tithe Harvester. Great way to answer this Shadow Blade. Or Hallow Blade, that thing. No blocks. Ledger Shredder. Okay. So opponent's got 2 cards in hand. I kind of want to get the Croxa trigger. So I think I'm going to kill this. Eventually. There you go. Player Croxa. I think we're going to shock in and pass. Probably plan on ditching like Spell Pierce here. See what our opponent does. Got a couple cards in their yards, so like Drowning Lock can kill the Ledger Shredder now. Oh, so it's a Greasefang deck. Okay. Greasefang with no Greasefang. Oof. Here's a Shadow. Block here. Shadow lives. Guess we're loading Luris. My attacking. No. They did, in fact, think they were trading. Thought it was just like a safe attack. So let's see if Luris resolves before we do anything. Now that Luris is resolved, I'll get my attack in. I'm not, like, afraid to trade off this Luris for Greasefang. Like, it shrinks the Shadow by 3, but the Shadow's still a 4/4, so don't really care. But now I get to get my Harvester back. Do I want to try to hit my land drop here? Yeah. If I can hit the land drop, then I can swap out, yeah. I can, like, force the block with the Shadow. And I'm fine offering up this Luris trade. It's like, if they take this, then I've just got a ton of stuff going for me here. And if they don't take it, I gain the life. Yeah, I'm not triggering their Ledger Shredder on my turn. The last thing I want is for them to have drawn a Parhelion and be able to just get the free discard on it. Alright, so we've got Unlicensed Hearse coming in. The other K command. Infernal Grasp is coming in. Fatal Push. We saw Ledger Shredder. And I think that was the only blue card we saw, but I'm kind of expecting them to bring in more stuff. So maybe I'm interested in Mystical Dispute. Sorcery speed removal is really bad against Greasefang itself, so I'd like to limit that. Argyl's Bloodfast might be a good one. Because, like, if I'm planning on holding up instant speed interaction, then Bloodfast is a great way to take advantage of those turns where they don't do anything. Croxa's a little sus when they can just get a free discard on Parhelion. Shadowheart's better here than it is against, like, some of the other variants. Spell Pierce is a little meh. Probably need to keep in some number of Thoughtseize. Fatal. Actually, I'm going to trim a couple Thoughtseize. Keep in all my Fatal Pushes. Not going to bring in Bloodfast on the draw because I don't want them doing something like into my turn, untapping, playing Greasefang. Drown in the Lock can be a little bad if Unlicensed Hearse is part of my plan, so maybe I want to trim on one of those. And we'll just, like, not bring in the second Mystical Dispute. Like, my goal is more just don't get cheesed out by Greasefang Parhelion. I can fight through the dudes. They're not very scary. I don't know what their interaction looks like, but... Right. So we got good answer to Parhelion. We got lands. We got like a Harvester to get a blood token. Expressive Iteration to help draw out of this. Let's play a Watery Grave so we can hold up Fatal Push in case they Ledger Shredder. Bro, Rectus Shadow Scam got scammed out of the dump for 4 trophies in a row. That is gross. Ooh, Thoughtseize is pretty decent. So I think I want to save Thoughtseize for next turn to be able to, like, maybe Iteration, find a land, cast the Thoughtseize. So if that's the case, do I just want to get down Harvester this turn? Yeah. I'm going to get down my clock. Like, if they play a Greasefang right here, I'm not that scared of it. I think it's more important that, like, I have something proactive going on. You. ETB, Connive. Okay. So, what all do you do? Maybe discard one more card. Secret card that shares a card type with one of the discarded cards. So do I want to consider and try to find the land? How greedy is that? That's probably too greedy. Maybe I should have rethought that. Because, I mean, I guess my backup plan, if I didn't hit the land, was just a Thoughtseize. And that could be good enough. Guess my opponent doesn't actually know that I'm a Death Shadow deck. Skyclave Apparition. Well, let's hit some of these. Alright. So we do find the land. So let's go Unholy Heat, the Apparition. Attack. Thought sees you. Take a Greasefang. Oh, guess I could have thought about that. So that means they just get to tutor up a creature. That's pretty good. Huh. Well, could be in some trouble. Gonna have to remember that card for game 3. Need to hit lands. There's a Shadowheart. That whole mechanic is busted. What, the Seek stuff? Yeah, and there's the Parhelion. Okay, so we saw Skyclave Apparition, Diviner of Fates. So Thoughtseize is going to be a lot better. Mystical Dispute's going to be a lot better. I'm just going to have to bring in, like, everything. Does Shadow have a cool animation when it enters the battlefield? Unfortunately not. It should, but they decided to cop us out of one. Let's get rid of the other Croaks. This is an interesting one to sideboard against. Like, I don't want to take out all my harvesters when I'm kind of relying on Fatal Push pretty badly. Shadowheart's so good on the play. I think I'm just gonna... Really not sure what I want my last cut to be. Guess I'll just stick with that drown plan. Or just keeping in more removal. Like game 1, we didn't see nearly as many creatures, so we boarded out some removal. Turns out that's what got us that game too. Alright. Reasonable hand. Ledger Shredder. See what we got. Yep. Ooh, Shadowheart's pretty good. So let's go attack. So if they blocked, we would just play out or Unholy Heat it. Since they don't block, let's get Shadowheart down. Get rid of that dude. Attacking with the Ledger Shredder. And I guess if you're not blocking with it, you might as well attack. So. Alright, I think I'm going to Shadowheart away this Ledger Shredder. Let's play a land first. Light Step. We'll just take our card draw. And this is where we kind of hope Shadowheart's able to do a little taking away of the game. Or I guess they're just going to take the Shadowheart. Yep. Let's heat you, get our Shadowheart back. Or 3/3 back. Alright, now I really don't think I want to K command and make them discard when they've got the potential of having a Parhelion. Now, are they going to attack? Another Fiend, sure. All right. So they still have not discarded a Parhelion, which should probably mean that they don't have one. What decks am I facing in the big boy tier? Mostly it's been like Greasefang decks, mono red, a few like tribal decks here and there. Alright. Now, do I want to K command? I think I do. I think I want to... Got a Ledger Shredder, but I don't really want to use that. Let's go 2 damage here. Or you discard 2 damage here. Pay for the ward. I was getting a lot of gates in the small boy. I did see a decent amount of gates on the climb up. Wasn't like an insane amount, but enough of them. All right, there's Greasefang. Greasefang, no attack. Let's go. Thought sees you. Okay. Swing in with my 3/3. See how opponent decides to block. Gonna double block. Alright. So then we'll take out the the bigger one. Do I want to just give my opponent like one connive trigger? No. Okay. So really looking for like a drown in the lock, a removal spell. That could get back Blood Tithe Harvester. Let's go no attacks, play Shadow, pass the turn. We'll plan on blood tokening away this Agademe. We'll wait and see what they do first. That one. All right. Attack with Shadow first. Force a chump block somewhere. Blocking with Ledger Shredder is great for us, because now we don't have to worry about Connive. Let's go push to hand, iteration to the bottom, Watery Grave to exile. I don't want to buy viewers. Go away. Pan indeed. Yeah, we'll iterate again. Get our Connive trigger on. I kind of want to just ditch Luris at this point. I think I'm going to. Shredder to hand, Thoughtseize to the bottom, Steam Vents to exile. Like, I'm not dead to a Parhelion right here. I can block one, Fatal Push a token, or block Parhelion, Fatal Push a token, and go to one. Or we'll see if they're going to let this happen. If I block here, this triggers Revolt, and I get to Fatal Push this. Oh, no, it has Ward, doesn't it? Yeah. Alright, that's fine. So, Shredder. Yeah, I remembered. Want to ditch my other Consider? No. Ditch the Shredder. Shadowheart, sorry.
Now, how about drums? An instrument everybody loves.
Play another Shadow, say go. Same situation again. If they do find Parhelion, I get to block the Parhelion itself. Fatal Push one of the tokens. Take 4, go to 1. I could have pushed the Greasefang, but I really wanted to like try to go for the kill there and like find a way to get revolt and just end the game on the spot. Like if I'm not dead to the Greasefang and Parhelion, and like if that's all they do on their turn, I kill them, then I'm not that afraid of the Greasefang. So I might as well take the high roll of, all right, let me just find like a Blood Tithe Harvester, make a blood, get revolt, kill the unblocked dude, and win. What do we got to? It's 302, went up 34 spots. Like, yeah, killing the Greasefang would have set me up to just give my opponent like no outs after next turn or something like that. But I feel like if there's a chance to just like not give my opponent a next turn to begin with, then that's where I'd like to be. But they would also need a really specific set of draws. Like they would need what? The connive, like fatal push for my ledger shredder, the connive dude to trigger exactly Parhelion into the yard. Might need more ways to trigger revolt. Yeah, there's not a ton in the deck, but fatal push isn't really for like the Greasefang matchup. It's more for like elves, goblins, mono red, all that kind of stuff. We're just taking fatal push. Are we taking? We gotta take. Yeah. How's this gonna work out? We take fatal push. They play Ornithopter and Fairy Seer. We play Ledger Shredder. They attack with both. We put a block on Fairy Seer. They ninjutsu the Ornithopter. Draw a card. That's probably fine, right? Like, we deal with the Fairy Seer. They don't play. Oh, they're just sitting on Spell Pierce. That's way better for me. I will 100% put a block in front of an Ornithopter. Whoops. SC. Oh boy. Ornithopter Retrofitter Foundry is a pain. I just have to like make them do this and get my connives. All right, that's a really good find. So let's ditch Croxa and Agademe. Well, sacrificing is part of the cost, so you can't wait for them to tap to fire off the Unholy Heat. Like, they can always just tap this. It's gone as soon as they tap it. So, if you wait, you lose your opportunity. So let's get that off the board. Yeah, if it was like tap, sack an Sacathopter, make this happen, then I would 1000% wait. But because sacrificing is part of the cost, it's pretty rough. Alright. So they're gonna make a Thopter into turn. And I'm gonna have to go ahead and kill one of these while they're tapped off of Spell Pierce. 6 cards in our yard, so we've got enough to get back Croxa here. Let's do that. Croxa is absolutely one of the reasons this deck functions. Like, discard Ninja the Deep Hours. It's kind of an odd one to ditch. Alright. So we still know about this Spell Pierce. So let's go to combat first. They can block, sack this to Retrofitter Foundry. Genius Infiltrator. It's another draw card ninjutsu, dude. Alright, so let's... I guess I just have to go ahead and get this Spell Pierce out of hand. Do I? Yeah. I think I actually want to pay for this. Ah, I see. Let's go. Light Step to hand. Watergrave to exile. Could have been better. So, looks like they've got a ninjutsu option. So I'm going to block the Fairy Seer. So if they ninjutsu this, they're just picking up their creature. Yep. Kill the Fairy Seer. They do get a draw, but for the most part, I'm kind of happy with how that plays out. Alright, let's go ahead and throw away a land. Throw a Watergrave. I kind of want to just consider here. Like, I could add Lurrus to the hand, but I've got all this stuff to ditch. Rid of Pathway. Don't think I want a Thoughtseize right now. Another Harvester. Alright, so let's attack with Croxa. Just attack with Croxa, play the second Harvester. Or, this doesn't have flying, right? Yeah, so I can attack with you two. Another Retrofitter Foundry. Take that. So they can make a token and block the Croxa if they want. Choose not to, so let's go another Blood Tithe and say go. We got 5 cards in the yard. We can ditch another so we can escape Kroxa again. Can't block, can't be blocked. You got it. Ooh. Huh. Do I just do that for 4 and hit the Infiltrator and the Outcast? Let's attack first. I think we just attack all out. Let's just get damage through. Get rid of this last card in hand. So they've got to block 2 things. I guess just 1 if they block Kroxa. Yeah. Math is tough. Yep. Alright, so now we will play the Shadow and Shatter Skull, the Outcast, and the Thopter. Boom. Carry on. Yep. Shatter Skull smashing. OP. Alright. So, Ninjutsu. I want K Command, Infernal Grasp, Fatal Push, Dead Weight. Is Ninjutsu cast, or is it an activated ability? Of the deep powers. Because if it's cast, I want Mystical Dispute. But if it's just, I'm pretty sure it's just activated ability. Yeah, let's just put it into play. Figure out double check. Want Meat Hook Massacre. So I want Shatterstorm. Or by force. We'll bring in Shatterstorm. Take care of a big retrofitter. Where's the Shatterstorm form? It's from Amonkhet Remastered. Spell Pierces, meh. Ditch a couple Thought Seizes. Shadowhearts, meh. Yeah, you know, those weird arena sets that everybody is aware exists, and take out a Kroxa and an Iteration. They're kind of on the slower side. Random Ket reprinted. Pretty much. Like, it's cool that it's in the format because there is an Affinity deck that's really good. And like Retrofitter Foundry that our opponent played last card is a card that's really good against us. Like, if you haven't seen this combo, they can just go like turn 1 Retrofitter Ornithopter, sack the Ornithopter, make it into a 4/4. Just turn 1 4/4. Which, if you're not running like Fatal Push or a Braid or something, it's tough. Speaking of Fatal Push, this hand's got to be reasonable against them, right? We've got a Fatal Push, Thoughtseize, Harvester can be a removal spell, Channeler to kind of dig a little bit. I just fatal pushing. Yeah. Stop a turn 2 ninjutsu. So, play you. Play you. It's probably better to play the Blood Tithe Harvester here, actually. Get my removal spell down. Should have thought about that more. Alright. Need a blue source. Sorin, Ritual Soot, Drowning Lock. Let's just take Sorin. Most problematic card in hand. Here's our blue source. So Harvester. See if we can get the I was hoping we'd get the Drowning Lock on that, but oh well. They know how to milk. Oh, that explains the no Drowning Lock. Reasonable draw. So this has got to catch a drown, right? Really? So Shadow to hand. Ledger Shredder to exile. Thoughtseize. I'm shocked that that didn't catch Drown in the Lock. Oh, here's the Shadow. Like, if you're not drowning an expressive iteration, what are you waiting for? Alright, I know I want K command in hand. Keep dead weight in the deck. Am I ditching? No. I think I'm just going to play this other Blood Tithe Harvester. Be mana efficient. Give me another blood token. Because I'm expecting that as soon as they hit their 4th land, they're just going to slam Ritual of Soot. So let's crack in for 6. Power word kill. Okay. I want a hive.
The goal of practice is always to keep our beginner's mind.
Hive's probably fine.
For a while, you will keep your beginner's
Let's
mind.
go.
But if you
Discard.
1, 2, 3 years
2 damage.
although you may improve some, you're liable to lose.
So technically, I should have discarded and destroyed an artifact. I don't think their deck plays pump spells, but
I have attained something.
they do play ninjutsu threats.
Limit our vast mind. When we have no thought of achievement, no thought of self, we are true beginners.
Let's fire up you. Draw a fatal push. Yep. I'll play you out. I've always got like add Luris, crack tokens if they do find a 4th land for Ritual. One top, one bottom. Let's just kill you, get in damage. Add Luris. So if they decide to just, like, go land ritual, sure. You got it. So here's Luris. We'll replay the Blood Tithe Harvester. And I think that should be GG. Yep. Alright. 287. I wonder if Blood Tithe Harvester is better or worse than I'm giving it credit for. Like, I really like having the blood tokens around. It's probably not at a point where I'm like, oh, this has to happen. Like, maybe I should just go back to the 4th Channeler and the 3rd Harvester. Try to be a little more proactive. Let's give that a shot. Opened up a pack of Kamigawa. Need them wild cards. A Ganjo. Wonder if you could play a Shrapnel Blast. The Shrapnel Blast is sack an artifact, deal 4. Is it in the format? Spelling Shrapnel Blast wrong. I don't think it's in the format. Like, if it is in the format, not there, I guess I'm thinking of Pioneer, that might be the case. But I think if you're wanting to build a list like this, and let's say Shrapnel Blast theoretically was in the format, then you probably could, if you went with like the 4 Harvester and maybe a couple main deck copies of like Soul Guy Lantern, something like that. Pretty good hand. So Affinity. Let's get down channelers. So go. All right. Down Harvester. Never mind. What are the odds that our opponent has another copy of Metallic Rebuke? %. That one. Do I want a Ledger Shredder? I think I do. Solve that. Kill that one. Instant creature. Need land sorcery. No. So many copies of Retrofitter. Here's a Ledger Shredder. Resolves. Alright, you have fallen for one of the classic blunders. Et tu, Ginger Brute. Oh. Well, this went south quickly. Still not at delirium. They're going to sack an Ornithopter for a 4/4. We're going to proceed to kill that said Ornithopter sack. I just need to find more interaction because I'm going to have to deal with this other 4/4 pretty quickly. Bruh. That's 3 straight Ornithopters off the top. Sorry, I meant to say 3 straight 4/4s off the top. They're going to try to go wide. I get the idea, but I think you just trade out these for 2 4/4s. Like, I understand that you're kind of like reserving the decision for later, but at the moment you just got like no attacks outside of a 1-powered Ginger Brute. There you go. For anybody wondering, Retrofitter Foundry is a messed up card. But this is why we've got cards like Bifrost, Shatterstorm, K-Command in the board. At 2 double Ginger Brute. Do like me a Shadowheart. Well, this is game 1, so I haven't brought in anything yet. But game 2, yes, I will be bringing in Shatterstorm. Alright, so let's go. Blood Tithe. Consider. Get rid of you. Discard an extra Shadowheart. Don't want a Thoughtseize. Play you out. Am I attacking with... I guess I have to attack with you. Am I attacking with Ledger Shredder? 3, 4. I think I am. This is like a way I could potentially cheese into a steal game 1. Like, get him for 3 here. Shadowheart pings. Let's see. I don't have a big chance this game, but I feel like any chance is better than none. So we're at a non-zero point at least. Like, especially if they're only attacking with these ginger brutes. I'm guessing there's a chance that they think that I'm going to die to my Shadowheart triggers. So you I know I don't have a lethal attack because they can just sack this and make a Thopter. So even if I were able to connive off this Ledger Shredder, I wouldn't have a lethal attack through. I'm just trying to make sure I have like enough blocks to cover their attack. Yep. Sack that, make a 4/4. And into turn, this Shadowheart's going to actually net me a life. Because it's going to ping both of us. I'm going to gain a life off of both of those pings. So I take 1, gain 2, go up a life. Okay. And this is kind of what we were looking for, as opponent getting a desperate attack. Alright, so we can't block those, so we know we're taking 2. We're gaining at least 7. Assuming we block with Luris and Shadowheart. Let's ditch our land first so we get a little more information. Might change up how we decide to block. Alright. So we've got to block some number of these. If I go Luris on Ingenious Smith, that's 3 life gained. We're at a functional 7. Shadow on a construct. You on a construct. You on a construct. That's taking 6. And So would I rather block Shadowheart on something and gain 7? No. I'd rather have Shadowheart as an additional lethal blocker or lethal attacker. We're gonna steal game 1. I know I'm the peanut gallery, but I think that's legit. Oh. I will take legit. Stole game 1. That is huge. Alright. So we get in Dead Weight, Fatal Push, Meat Hook Massacre, Molten Impact, Shatterstorm, Biforce, K Command. We could bring in Mystical Dispute for Thought Monitor, Metallic Rebuke. Probably not worth it. Drown's little mopey. Shadowheart, despite that game, is not a great piece against them. Spell Pierce, pretty bad. Thoughtseize is meh. Heat isn't great, but do I think there's something better than Heat? Like, my goal is to get a big Biforce or Shatterstorm. So I need to figure out, like, what are the cards that best get me to that point? And, like, Heat against a Nettle Cyst or something is really bad. But Heat, it just helping me survive to a Shatterstorm is okay. Can go down to 1 Croxa. It's a little slow and clunky. Run 61, you won't. You're right. You're absolutely right, I won't. I'm a coward. This can't be it, right? No red mana, only 1 land. These are pretty dead early. That's better. I think I'm just going to throw back the Shadow. Unlicensed hers. Alright. Let's just get Shredder out there. I think we're just gonna Croxa. Get a card out of hand. We don't care if they Metallic Rebuke that. They're gonna hearse it. Which is pretty okay. Like, I am just trying to get to a point where this makes a big impact. Do I want to just hit 3 things and let them draw a card? Is that worth it? I could go 1, 2, 3. You draw a card. Harvester is better. Yeah, they are tapped, but I kind of like this because if I get to untap and like Blood Tithe the Esper Sentinel, then I might be able to just do a big buy force and they don't get to draw a card. Like hit this Ledger Shredder. Yeah. All right. All right. So I can hit 4 things. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Seems reasonable. So kill you. Shocking you. One, two, three, 4. Damn, this deck too good. I hope you're talking about their deck. Because their deck is insane. Like, they just have hit after hit after hit. Their deck is super, super frustrating to play against. Like, if you don't have Shatterstorm, it can feel really, really rough. Like, now they just get to start making 4/4s off this. Gross. And am I shocking this in? No. So they're just going to be able to like re-equip Nettlecyst to an Ornithopter. All right. Shatterstorm off the top. One time deck. Shatterstorm off the top. Believe in the me that believes in you. So we take 8, go to 3, gain 3, go to 6. Shadows a 7, 7. Shatterstorm. One time. So I have to shock in to not, or to be able to play this and pay. Shatterstorm. No. Go to hand. You. Nope. All right, on to game 3. Oh, we get to go to game 3 on the play, so that's a big plus. Spell Pierce is a lot better on the play. Yeah, I gotta update the Stream Decker. This isn't the exact list that I've been playing. I added in like some Blood Tithe Harvesters to try out. Like, what would I take out for Spell Pierce, though? Slash, do I want Spell Pierce? No. I'm gonna stick with what I got. It's gotten me this far up the rankings. Like, don't start questioning myself now. One lander. But I've got a lot of good pieces. It does have Consider. Do I feel like this has a good enough plan? Like, high roll, I hit the Black Source off Consider. Then I can, like, Shadowheart on 2. Is that good enough? I'm going to say no. Should have kept it. Alright. Well, this is a 7 or a 5 with Shatterstorm. So let's go 1 back and 2 back. Yeah. All right. Well, so if they decide to flip this Ornithopter into a 4/4 and attack, I can block with a Death Toucher. Fortunately, they do have like Portable Hole and stuff that can just swing through. Well, if that doesn't scream Metallic Rebuke, I don't know what does. Never mind, it doesn't. Just take the Sentinel. Land, technically. All right, just throw everything out here. Play the Shadow Spear. Yep, keep it going. You got like 4 more cards you can cast in your hand. Just Ornithopter, Ornithopter. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm not blocking, right? I'm keeping my threat on board. Ooh. Yep. So let's go swing in, add Luris, play Channeler. Got it. I do have a Shadowheart in my yard. So go swing. Am I getting back Shadowheart? I think so. Never mind. That works too. Here's a shadow. It's not quite a Shadowheart, but oh boy. It's always thought monitor. Can you just like be nice and pass the turn? Just nothing. Just and there goes Fatal Push. Colgan's command off the top. Be a pretty good one. Ah. Well then. So I can go attack with Ledger Shredder. If they don't block, K command 2 to them, get back Shadowheart. Oh yeah, I guess I can just kill both, can I? Sorry for the slow roll, opponent. So artifact. I forgot they were tapped out. So I was like, but they get to draw cards. They can find an answer. It's not a guaranteed kill. Oh, they're just tapped out. You're right. I'm an idiot. Opponent, if you watch the stream at any point, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to slow roll. Alright. 265. And we saw Shatterstorm do absolute work there. So I guess we're just going to keep rolling. So what have we played against? Like Esper, Greasefang, and Affinity. Let's see. Looks like a YouTube subscriber. FKFFM. Yeah, I can't keep that. Oh boy. Play something I can spell pierce, please. Back-to-back Affinity. Back-to-back Affinity is pretty rough. Especially back-to-back Affinity with the combo. We gotta start clocking. I feel like they need to do one of these great Magic Arena hot patches and make it so Retrofitter Foundry says like tap, comma, you may sacrifice a Thopter, comma, if you do, create a 4, or better yet, tap, comma, sacrifice target Thopter, create a 4/4 construct. I'm just gonna let this through. Get my Consider on. That does give me a black card to pitch to Shadowheart. Is that good enough? No. That is also a black card I can ditch to Shadowheart. So we've got creature, instant, land, no sorcery. Iganjo. That was nowhere near my radar. Not even remotely close. Gross. But just like not being able to interact with this with instant speed removal, I think is problematic. Or also, why is it free to sack a Thopter and make a 4/4, but you've got to pay to make a 1/1, and you have to pay to sack a 1/1 to make a bigger dude? Also, I have no idea why I ditched the Spell Pierce with the Nettle Cyst on the stack. I was just like, me not paying attention. Me already like giving up on this game. So let's Thoughtseize for information. Karn, Scion of Urza. So that is reasonable information to have. I guess I can shock it next turn. Double retrofitter foundry. Let's get you off the board. So we got creature, instant, another creature, sorcery. Stitch the metallic. Wonder why you're ditching the Karn. Just ditch that metallic rebuke. Ah, I see. Okay. So, Karn, Scion of Urza. Did we see we didn't see Esper Sentinel, did we? Kind of want to try out a little bit different of a sideboard plan. Probably shouldn't board out Agadine, right? Since Shatterstorm's like one of my high priorities. I really want to see a Meat Hook Massacre in one of these games. I want to know how it does. Stir back. Dispute. Harvester's really good here. Might help us find a blue source for these. I mean, we'll take that one. Oh, yeah. Probably need to add like a second Shatterstorm or something if Affinity is going to be as popular of a matchup as it's appeared. It was like, especially since hitting Mythic, I've run into this matchup a lot. Stitch the Agadine. Looking for a blue source. Perfect. So they've got 2 artifacts currently. 3 with Nettle Cyst. I think I'm just going to take the Nettle Cyst. Like maybe I can find another Thoughtseize effect for Thought Monitor. Or they just immediately find a free spell to cast it. Ah. Gotta love when a good plan comes together, right? Like, hey, let's buy ourselves a turn or two off of this, this Thought Monitor. Oh, you mean they immediately drew the answer? Gotcha. Alright, what do we got? I think I kind of want to go Shadowheart plus Shadow. It's currently 2 power. So I can't really do that. Just play Shadowheart. Play Shadow. No attacks. I'm just gonna hope that this expressive iteration can find us like K Command or Shatter Storm. I think I actually had a lot easier time with this deck in the ladder because I was running like 2 main deck K Command, a third in the side, Bi-Force in the side. Alright, so Iganjo Unknown. Iganjo Unknown. Go Blood Tithe to hand. K Command to exile. Go 2 damage to you. I kind of want to just destroy Portable Hole and get my shadow back. So, destroy an artifact, 2 damage here. And let's just attack with both. Try to get them to use this Iganjo. Yep. Then shocking in so that they can't just eat 2 things, crew up, and get an attack in. Yep. All right. So let's start by swinging in. Play Channeler. Play Harvester. Add Luris. All right. Dead draw this turn. Draw that Metallic Rebuke. You drew it and you're like, this is the best Metallic Rebuke I've ever seen in my life. Alright, let's ditch Thoughtseize. Go for Fatal Push. Keep a Drown in the Lock. Then we're just going to attack with the 2 Blood Tithe Harvesters. If they have another Aganjo, then I wouldn't kill him with the Dragon's Rage Channeler attacking anyway. But this gives me, or something like that, but this gives me a blocker on the way back for this unlicensed hearse. Just play out Luris. Say go. So go to combat. Hiya. And hiya. Yes. I've gotten their graveyard. You've done it. Alright. Am I changing up anything going into game 3? I think I do want the push in the Infernal Grasp. Deadweight still feels like it's got to be reasonable, right? Maybe I don't want the extra Croxa since they're on this whole unlicensed hearse plan. Mystical Dispute. I think I'm off of. Maybe I want Molten Impact over the other Drown. It does kill a 4/4 construct. Gotta play around with what you're trying to do against these different variations of Affinity. My plan's probably a good bit different if they're on what's it called? Esper Sentinel. Of course, we get to game 3, and now they show us Esper Sentinel. Okay. Get rid of this so that they can't... So destroy an artifact 2 here. Get rid of that so they can't Metallic Rebuke and tap off of it. Alright. I think this is going to be a metallic rebuke. So what would I rather have countered? Probably the Harvester. I'm not going to counter. I guess I don't have it. Okay. So I can buy 4s for 3. I can just take out like Treasure Vault, Thought Monitor, Ornithopter. Is that worth it? I think I'd rather just like Ledger Shredder, Channeler, Unholy Heat the Thought Monitor. Might regret that if I end up finding like a or if they find like a retrofitter foundry, but Odawara unknown. As funny as it is, I really hope they find like a Nettle Cyst off this that they just cast out. Oh man, paid actors. Paid actors. Are you gonna move the Nettle Cyst to the Ornithopter? Alright. That is a play that you are... Oh, and they're attacking. Last card's Odawara, so... Yeah, no blocks. So Bifrost goes 1, 2, 3, or am I hitting Treasure Vault? One, two. Don't know how much it really matters. Keep an iteration. And let's go ahead and kill you. And attack. So last card in hand is Odawara. Start off with an attack. So I know they're going to Odawara something, so there's not a lot of reason to like spend a bunch of mana just to get Odawara'd. Play you. Play iteration. Nope. Discard, consider. Alright, let's go Shadow to hand. Push to the bottom. Blood Crypt to exile. Play out Shadow. Say go. This is what I got, OP. Can you beat it? Don't think that's going to do it. Oh, man. 254. They just don't want to give us the 250. But I do feel like I want an extra card against Affinity. Like, maybe I just want a second Shatterstorm. Because I feel like if you get to a Shatterstorm point, it's just kind of like lights out. But... well, 5 force. Or Colligan's Command's probably actually the more reasonable one. But I would also really like to see more of this Meat Hook Massacre. Because I put the card in the sideboard to try it out, and I don't think I've seen it at all. Kind of off negate. At least I can't think of a time that I've cast Meat Hook Massacre. But like the fact that you get to play it, keep Luris as your companion is really sweet. And I mean, how good would it look if our opponent was like stacking Ornithopters and whatever to the Foundry? Opponent reveals Luris. I think I'm going to keep this against a Luris opponent. It's obviously a pretty good draw. What on earth is this? Illuminator Virtuoso. Dragon's Guard Elite. Let's take a Virtuoso because I don't want them conniving every time. Mana efficient. I definitely will like want to kill this before they untap. I don't want to let them be able to fight over something. Alright, so we got Luris. That's a really good answer to Luris. Come on, cast the Luris. There we go. Get out of here. Oh, baby. Go shock you in. Play you. Play you. Add you. Say go. Nothing in our yard we can ditch. So let's just ditch this Channeler. Because I can play Luris and recast it from the yard. So it's pretty free. It gives me a shot at just like a fetch land or something impactful. Not a fetch land, shock land. Oh, I do like me a Croxa. So let's go Croxa to hand, Channeler to exile, or Channeler to bottom. And yeah, Croxa. So I got enough to get it back next turn. I love how it's like English right here and then Japanese when you're not focused in on it. That's pretty hilarious. Alright. Fatal Push, great. Dead Weight, great. Infernal Grasp, great. Do I want Meat Hook Massacre? Probably not. It's a little slow. Spell Pierce is probably okay. K Command looks slow and clunky. Croaks is pretty slow. Ditch a Shadowheart. And probably an iteration. Go like this. So it looks like a sort of green-white hex-proof deck. Not hex-proof, but like the hex-proof idea. Snakeskin Veil. Those kind of cards. Tempo-y. It doesn't look like humans. Especially since they're playing Luris. So they can't play like a lot of the good 3-mana interactive humans. I guess they could be on Collected Company, but I don't expect it with a bunch of like Dramoka's commands and Snakeskin Veils, scale ups. Pretty interactive hand. And opponents on the mulligan, I think. Deciding what to throw back. Yeah. Mulligan to 5. Ugh. Sorry, OP. Go ahead. Kill you. Luckily, you don't have to worry about like the free pump spells like in Modern. So that's really nice. I'm just gonna like kill stuff as they come down. Sure, keep that. Okay. Whoops. Top 250. Yes. We've made it. That was crazy to go up like 6 or 7 spots or something the match before and then go up like 25 on that one. What's the time? 3 o'clock. So got time for a couple more matches. So let's keep on rolling. Like I said, the goal is to get to sub 100. That way, hopefully the decay that we hit won't be enough to knock us out of 250. Because like at 230, there's a pretty good chance that just everybody else playing over the next few days, or the next day, not few days, everybody playing will be too much to keep us in that spot. Like you'll have people winning, losing in the top 250, and we're likely to just like fall a decent bit. Oh man, we got a diamond ranked opponent. Not that there's anything wrong with being diamond ranked. I just didn't expect to get that big of a pair down. What's this? Tapped blue-green land. This is gonna hurt if you lose. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Gonna resolve us. Oh, baby. All right, let's go. I kind of just want both of the black sources, honestly. So I think I'm gonna go. I should have done the Blood Crypt to exile so that I could hold up Unholy Heat. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me. ETB. Slang. Another ninjutsu deck. Instant sorcery. So let's go. Shocking you. Play Shadowheart. See what they do. Hiya. Channeler, so go. I really want to like Shadowheart ditch this Steam Vents. So I would like to make this a 4/4 that draws me some cards. ETB, put a land from your hand on the battlefield tapped. Discard it, conjure 2 forests. Alright. Attempt Shadowheart number 2. So let's activate. Discard you. Shock in, draw a card. Got to attack with the Channeler. I think we're just going to hold on Fatal Push. I don't know what they're playing yet, so it looks just like a ninjutsu deck. I assume off of the one card I've seen that says ninjutsu, but it could also just be like a blue-green tempo deck. That's usually like Essence Capture is kind of like a mono blue. It's the card that draws when you hit somebody. Curious Obsession. That type of deck. Oh. Ah, yes. Jukai Liberator. That's obviously what I thought I was up against. Modern staple, or what format are we? Historic staple, Jukai Liberator. But honestly, I do kind of like this system of, hey, you beat somebody high ranked, you make a bigger leap. It doesn't matter so much on the ladder, because you're just going to get like your 2 points or whatever for leveling. But when you're farther down, I really like that notion of, hey, you hit the mark, you level up that way, or you get more of a level. Play you, so go. Yeah. Fair enough. Alright. Blue-green tempo. So dead weight, fatal push. Do I want... Probably want Mystical Dispute. I saw like Essence Capture and stuff. Molten Impact's okay. Meat Hook Massacres probably fine on 3. K-Command's a little slow and clunky. Crooks is a little slow. Maybe I don't want Molten Impact. No. Molten Impact's got to be like pretty nutty. Actually just got like a lot of reasonable cards here. Trim on a Shredder. Trim on an Iteration. Maybe like a Shatter Skull on the draw. Or an Agademe on the draw. Let's just go with 1 Mystical Dispute. This is like the kind of deck that we sort of prey upon, like small creature decks. Mono red can be a little bit tough, but so be it. Network Disruptor. No. Seems good. That also seems good. Hmm. 1/3 Death Touch. Deals combat damage to the player. Remove a Death Touch counter from it when you do exile target artifact or creature, or no, target artifact or enchantment that player controls. Just gonna play out Harvester. Like, I'll trade Harvester for this guy. Absolutely. I just, like, don't really want to waste a removal spell on this and have the shock just, like, not even matter, or this Molten Impact damage. Yeah. Let's do it. This is only instant or sorcery, right? Yeah. So I can dead weight. So let's go Ledger Shredder, dead weight, discard, Sulfur Falls is fine, kill off you. Coiling Stalker. What do you do? Does combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control that doesn't have a +1/+1 counter on it. Sounds pretty sweet. Let's kill it. All these Liberators. Too good. Feeling liberated. Alright. 176. Dude, we jumped up 60 places off that? Like, okay. again, I'm not saying rankings are indicative of anybody's skill level, but I don't get why we beat somebody that's like numbered in mythic or like 97, 98% in mythic, and we jump 7 places, and then we beat somebody who's ranked in diamond and we jump 60 places. So he probably has really high MMR. I mean, if he's like making the grind to mythic, then I'm all for it. Like, power to you. I would love to know what he's played against for his deck to have a high record. It's like, maybe it's just me, but it didn't seem like it had a high power ceiling. But I mean, if he's just been going through slaughtering people, power to him. Up against number 1785. The keep. Let's check out what you got. So this is Reanimator. Esper Reanimator. So let's take Tainted Indulgence. And I think I'm just going to play out Shadowheart. So that guy's probably secretly a top 100 player once he plays enough games. You mean like he's just like fallen out of rank for the season? Censor. Herald of Vengeance enters the battlefield. Destroy each permanent you don't control that has the same name as a permanent that dealt damage to you last turn. That's a lot of text. Yeah, like probably just started trying to get Mythic this week after last month's reset. Okay, that makes sense. But I don't know. I guess like I get he's probably got a ridiculous win rate part. I'm not against that at all. Power to him for having a ridiculous win rate with that deck. Or if he's got something else to play, I'm surprised that he wouldn't play something else to try to get the last few spots on the ladder. Discard it. Conjure this thing. 7th from the top. Tap up to 1 target non-land permanent. Draw a card. Get rid of a Void Rend. Play a Shadow. Say go. I'm probably just going to have to ditch this Ledger Shredder. I think I just need to find like a Drown in the Loch pretty aggressively. Or I guess he's planning on playing this Herald. Right? So maybe I just want to ditch that. You in the yard. So I attack with both. He goes to 4. Plays Herald. Just gonna have to like figure it out from there. Oh, it's destroy each. Why did I think it was destroy 1? That was pretty bad. I'll just get back Croxa. What's this thing do? 5/6 flying ward 2. I was so convinced I was like destroy 1 permanent that dealt damage to me last turn. Yeah, with that deck, the theory doesn't hold. Right, like, if you played another deck last season and got up there, I get that. But wouldn't you just have, like, better cards to play through this season with? Alright. He didn't play the big ward dude. Why do you not play the big ward dude? At what point do you look up and say, hey, I've got this big ward dude. I'm not going to play him. I don't just counter the Thoughtseize. I'm over here like making suggestion plays like I don't screw up constantly. Like, oh, why don't you just do this as I'm over here missing lethal left and right. Consider's probably fine. Gone. Okay. So this has got to be some sort of just like deck built around this Jin, right? Because everything seems to be like try to put the Jin into your deck to flip it over. Because I think it had some effect, like you exile 2 other copies of it from the yard, and you get to put it into play for free. And I don't know. So let's bring in cake commands and hearses, spell pierce, sure. Bloodfast is probably okay. Fatal push is terrible. Unholy heat's pretty bad. Yeah, just put out all those. Crux is probably pretty bad if they get a bonus off of it. Maybe I don't want 3K commands. I gotta look up half these cards real quick. So does Void Rend destroy or exile? Void Rend destroys. So I get stuff back off K command. And let's check out the text on this Jin. Whose name I have Kaleem. Kaleem Jin Emperor. 1 in blue, discard it, tap up to 1 target non-land permanent, draw a card, then you exile 2 other cards named Kaleem Jin Emperor from your graveyard. When you do, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. When you discard Kaleem, conjure a card named Kaleem into your library, 7th from the top. Okay. That's a lot of text on a Jin. So it seems like less Reanimator and more just get the Jin into play. So I think as long as we have like a little disruption and a reasonable clock, likely be okay. Legion's End. All right. Sensor. All right. What you got? So let's go Pierce to hand, Ledger Shredder to the bottom, Watery Grave to exile, play a Shadow, say go. Not gonna give him the free sensor here. Sure. All right, so I think that Jin is 6 mana. Let's go Channeler to hand, Blood Tithe, Consider. You. Okay. You got a Jin for me? Got sorcery, creature, instant, no land. Sorcery, instant, creature, no land. Do I want a Croxa? Yeah, it's Croxa. Wait, they discard up to 5 cards, so I can drown in the lock the 5-mana angel or whatever. And then with the Croxa attack next turn, I'll be able to drown to kill the Jin. That's fine. It's a shadow. And I think that's all I'm doing this. Play out another channeler. Play something I can interact with. I can at least get some triggers here. I think I'm gonna Mystical Dispute and Spell Pierce. Try to get some of these pseudo-dead cards a little bit of life here. Flip a bunch of cards into my yard for Croxa. Whatever. 7 cards, so should be able to drown and lock most everything. Target creature card in your graveyard perpetually gains 1/2 black. Exile this card from the graveyard. Shuffle it into your library. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. That's a lot of text. Dream Trawler. No. Down with Esper Reanimator. 151. Alright. Unfortunately, I've got to call it there. I got a work call to get to in a few minutes. But we got down from about 340 to 150 in a pretty short amount of time. We just need to figure out. I'm going to have to go do a little reading to see how much decay can happen in like this 22 hours. Like, I don't know how safe I am I figured if I got under 100 that we'd be reasonably safe. But at like 150, I'm not sure. So we might have to play a little bit more tomorrow. Just kind of depends on what it looks like in the morning. But just sit on it till the morning. Right. That's what I'm thinking too. Like, just check it tomorrow, see what it's looking like, go from there. But honestly, like, this deck has felt phenomenal. We're beating up on aggro decks like Affinity. We beat multiple times today. We're beating on these combo decks. We didn't see a lot of mid-range stuff today, but like Affinity is a rough matchup, so beating that twice is huge. Yeah, I don't... Blood Tithe Harvester, I think, was like a good addition. I don't know the number count I want yet, but the card itself being like a 3-2 beater on 2 was good. Killed off some dudes. Got some value off the blood tokens. So it's a card I definitely want to experiment with a little bit more. Yeah, other than that, like, I'm excited to see what this qualifier is all about. I think we got a good deck. We can probably make a decent run if things go our way. So we'll see what happens. But as always,